pretty much.
What is going on? It is episode 4 of the Noble Steady Sort of Sports Talk. I'm your host, Tyler, with my main man, Joey. What's going on, my buddy?
What's happening?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much. We got a bunch of different playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Yes, you heard that right. We got the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs going on right now. It is a great time to be a sports fan. Not to forget the NFL draft going on. It is a great time of year to be a sports fan. What got you excited, Joey?
Oh man, that NHL playoffs is probably the best thing in sports going right now. Yeah, the NFL draft is exciting, and the NBA playoffs are pretty fun. But I'm a homer. I mean, as you can see by my background, I'm pretty excited about these NHL playoffs.
I hear you, man. I hear you. It's definitely been exciting trying to get my feet wet into the world of hockey, but it's been interesting so far. I will say, love the intensity, love the game so far.
It's you sit there and you look at games and you just think, I really want this team to win. I want that team to win. I'm looking at it as I really hate this team. I don't care how good the team they're playing is. I want them to lose. Nashville Predators, I'm talking to you. I really want you to lose. But, Dallas is my team. They got Vegas, who eliminated them last year. So I'm a little nervous, but the more and more I get closer to the game, as of recording tonight in about 2 hours, it's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be wild. That's for sure. I'll tell you what got me going, man, is our New Orleans Pelicans. They came up a little short in game 1 against the Oklahoma City Thunder, but they showed out a lot better than most of the teams in NBA that lost yesterday.
Man,
this whole first weekend, dude. Like
those games were rough.
Dude,
rough to watch.
Kidding. I'll tell you what, man, that was a big surprise. I mean, Dallas came back. I mean, but that start was so slow. I mean, what do they have, like 8 points in the second quarter? With that kind of firepower, you just don't think that's going to happen.
I think this is a different kind of feeling out process that the NBA teams have had. They don't want to show up too much, especially considering some of these series may go 7 games. You try to keep some things hidden, even though at this point now you should have everything you're going to do out in the open.
No, I agree. Like I said, it's just shocking, man. I mean, it's just really hard to have to hold cards against the vest when you still have, with one game you go down, it's a serious disadvantage, right? I'll tell you the game that really shocked me was and I'm sorry I didn't mean to interrupt you, was the Timberwolves game with the Suns, man. Good lordy. Dude, the Suns lost 120-95. How does that happen?
In the playoffs, no less.
That's what I'm saying.
We can't really say much considering the fact that our favorite team, I think, owns the record for the largest margin of defeat in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken.
I can check it for you.
Harken back to the 2008, 2009 Hornets. Was it 2008, 2009? Yes. Because the next year was when they fired Byron Scott. Because I was in Texas when it happened. I was going to school.
58 points, yes, in 2009.
Yeah.
To the Denver Nuggets, really pre-Jokic.
But they had Melo. They had, they had a squad with them.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying. But that is wild, though. Holy cow. 58 points. Good Lord.
But I tell you what, I'm looking at some of these scores, and some of these are not much better. I mean, you got 20 points, Heat Celtics.
In fairness, that's without Jimmy Butler.
That's true.
That's essentially a first-round bye for the Celtics.
But what sucks is, and I sit there and I say it all the time, and I try to, you hope that a team isn't one player like that. Like, you're hoping that your whole season isn't dependent on like Jimmy Butler being healthy. You're hoping you're not, if Luka goes down, does Dallas think, oh no, our season's over? Like,
Yes.
I feel like with like the Pelicans, Zion's down, so it's not a total loss. I mean, they showed it in the game that they can keep up with Oklahoma City. It's just about, there were some things in that game that, I think one call went wrong and the guy made both free throws, and it's like, maybe if he doesn't make those free throws, maybe they go into overtime and maybe they put up a fight. But
Or if we're gonna talk about the Pelicans, shout out to Jonas, just manhandling the middle and on the offensive glass.
you mean Travis Kelce?
Yes.
Dude, the more like as soon as somebody said it, I looked at him and I'm like, I can't unsee that now.
It's a
He
glass
just
shattering
looked
moment.
he looks like a grumpy Travis Kelce.
He's the middle Kelsey. They gave him up for adoption.
Do you remember? I don't know if you remember this. It's probably gonna be like, how the hell do you remember that? There was a Shaqtin' a Fool where he was trying to put his mouthpiece in a cup. I think it was him, and he kept missing it, and it was like right here, and he just gave up, and he just like looks off, like staring off into space. It's like, yeah, he's just an angry, grumpy Travis Kelce.
I mean, I can see that. I can definitely see that.
I'd say
for
frumpy,
sure.
but I can't really say that.
I don't say frumpy. But back to the game, dude. The fact that we shot so bad, and I mean so bad last game, and still is a 2-point game, is very encouraging. Now, of course, adjustments are going to be made, so I'm not like, oh yeah, that means we're gonna win. No,
we just got to win. We just got to win the next 4. We just got to win 4 of the next 6.
Exactly.
It's that
one
simple.
game at a time.
Yeah. And I mean, we've seen this Pelicans team with bad shooting. When they played the Heat at home, they couldn't buy a basket.
Yeah.
But then the following Friday, you and I went to that game. I forget who they played, but
Pacers.
Yeah, they beat the brakes off of them, and they kept Halliburton I think they kept him scoreless for the entire first half. He was a non-factor in that game. I know that.
Oh, no, for sure. And I will say, I was pleasantly surprised how well we did against Shea. Like, granted, he still got 28 points, but it didn't feel like he really took over till the end of the game. You know what I mean? Like I felt like we held that talent he has in check. Because I mean, we did a great job controlling the pace of that game too until the very end, and then it kind of got away from us.
We kept them close. We need to keep in these games without star players. Your goal is, okay, let's keep them within reach. So then if we get a nice little run, maybe we get ahead, maybe we tie. That way we're not down 21 trying to dig ourselves out of a hole.
Exactly. It's hanging around until it's time to really make a run at the end of the game, right?
If you match, it's all about matching like for like. So if they make a 3, you try to make a 3, or maybe you go for the easy bucket, you go for the layup. Then it's just, you just keep them within, you don't let them get that 10-point lead where it's like, okay, now we have to like start making shots.
Don't panic,
I think,
right?
When's the next game? Wednesday.
I think,
which
honestly,
is
wild
Wednesday.
to me. Jeez.
How so?
Like
that big of a gap?
That big of a gap, yeah. Especially when they're on a non-travel day. Like, I'm old school. I remember the days where it was literally like, you got 1 day of travel, maybe 2. Maybe they gave you 2 days for travel, but it was always like 2. It was 2 days for travel, 1 game in between each, not 2, 3, 4, 5 games in between.
Well, looking at the NBA playoff schedule, I'm noticing that there's 3 games a day. So you've got, and I'm sure they're trying to keep it on one network a night. They're not doing like the NHL right now. I'm looking at the Islanders in Carolina on ESPN, and then I think on ESPN2 it's Bruins Maple Leafs. So they've got 2 networks going. Now the NBA at the same time has TNT and NBA TV, but I know they want more eyes on some of these games, so they're not gonna risk
it's
that
for sure
kind
the
of a
TNT.
split.
it's for sure the TNT games and stuff. Anything that's on a network, not their network, they want the eyes on.
I
For
think
sure.
honestly, like,
them.
so the NHL is going to utilize TBS because again, these two leagues have the same media contract where they have ESPN and they have TNT or Turner for that matter.
Yeah,
So
Discovery Plus, Turner.
Yeah, you're going to have, a game on TNT. You're going to have a game on TBS, whereas in the NHL, you got ESPN, ESPN2, ABC for when you get to the local network, the weekend games. So I think it's just how it falls and how the media rights have happened. I guarantee you, if the NHL was back on NBC and USA, then you wouldn't be seeing 3 games in a night. You'd see ESPN would have NBA games, TNT would have NBA games, and they would just run wild.
Oh yeah. So I mean, I guess that makes sense. So you're basically saying that the media rights and the expansion of bigger networks getting like the NHL as opposed to just the NBA having a monopoly really helps expand the makes it easier for them to stretch these games out because they still want all the eyeballs on these games, right? Is that
Well, so
basically what I'm catching?
you got a few years ago when it was the NBA had Turner and they had ESPN, you would have a game every night on both networks. Sometimes you'd have Tuesday we'll have NBA on TNT, Wednesday it'll be on ESPN, Thursday it'll be on TNT, and you just go back and forth, back and forth. ESPN would more than likely have at least a game every day.
They still not a game a day, but they still do like the NBA Friday on ESPN kind of thing.
Well, I'm talking
Every
about
now
like
and
for the
then.
playoffs. I'm not talking about regular season.
No, they do it for regular season.
No,
Oh,
I'm
no,
talking
okay.
about playoffs.
Excuse me.
You're good. So, but like with that added pressure of now they have the NHL playoffs going on at the same time as the NBA playoffs, you got to be able to, you got to give the NHL their time and you got to give the NBA their time. So it's, hey, ESPN, tonight you're going to cover the NHL. TNT, tonight you're going to cover the NBA. I want to say the games tomorrow. I know the next game the Stars have, like tonight it's on ESPN. The next game I think is on TBS, if I'm not mistaken. So there's that. It's not, it's not the days of old where ESPN has the Eastern Conference, TNT has the Western Conference.
Western Conference.
They're going to fit it where they can, and then maybe when they get to the conference finals, then they'll have, okay, this is who has what. But they'll alternate, but it'll be an alternating thing. So if let's say ESPN has the Eastern Conference for the NBA, and TNT will then have the Western Conference for the NHL. They'll run the same night, and then the opposite will happen the following night. So that's where you'll have your synergy between the two networks. The one thing that ESPN has, I don't want to say a problem with this year, because I mean you're not really going to have a problem because it's one game a night. But I want to say the NBA finals and the NHL finals are the same time frame. So that's a lot of TV time to have. Okay, Stanley Cup final night, NBA final night, Stanley Cup final night, NBA final night.
I think
which would be great for sports fans like me.
Oh yeah. But I think TNT will probably take more of the NBA if I'm not mistaken.
TNT is going to have like conference finals. It's the same.
Okay.
With the NHL, it alternates year to year. So 2 years ago, when this media rights deal started, ESPN had the Stanley Cup final. The following year, which was last year, TNT had the Stanley Cup final. This year, it's an ESPN Stanley Cup final. And they're doing that for the next 8 years.
What I mean is, so you'll probably see the NBA be on ABC kind of TNT, if I had to guess. For the finals. No. It's more ABC.
The finals, no, they're going to be on different nights.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
You're not going to have overlapping nights. You shouldn't have overlapping nights. If I'm the NHL and I'm the NBA, I'm doing everything I can to make sure that's on opposite nights.
No, I wasn't saying they're going to be. I'm not talking about them competing. I'm talking about the NBA finals would be on more likely ABC.
Probably.
Yeah, and the NHL would have
the Stanley Cup finals. No, Stanley Cup finals could be on ABC.
Okay, well then, never mind then. I digress.
That's what I'm saying. It's two different. Like Monday night may be like an NBA Finals night. Tuesday night's going to be a Stanley Cup Final night.
I gotcha. Should be
Yeah.
interesting the way they split it up.
Yeah, and you might. The only time you'll have maybe overlap is if like, hey, it's Saturday, nobody's got work. Let's do like a matinee Stanley Cup Final, 4 o'clock puck drop. NBA would be 7 o'clock.
Well,
At
it's a
worst.
lot of that comes down to ads and who's
Yeah.
paying the most money to have their ads on there.
Right. No, I'm
just
just saying like they'll probably end up just having their own thing every night. But if they wanted to have something the same night,
the issue is, Joey, it just makes too much sense.
I'm just glad I don't have that problem. That's not my job. I'm just, hey, enjoy it. Okay, cool. Perfect.
So if you had to pick one in the NBA so far, look, dude, I watched I know the Lakers try to put up a fight, but I still think the Nuggets are my pick so far.
To win it all?
To win it all, yeah. I mean, I just don't see another team, right? Like, not in the West, right?
I'll say this. If Boston makes it, and I'm sure people are going to be like, you must not have watched basketball this season. I think if Boston makes it this year, that they're going to make it go 7.
I mean, I don't doubt it. I mean, they put up the biggest fight, I would think, especially out of the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, out of the Eastern Conference, if Boston makes it, then it's handled. But
I mean, look, in the Eastern Conference, there's a legit chance Boston doesn't lose a game.
I can believe it.
Especially if the Pacers bounce the Bucks before Giannis gets back, or if Giannis just isn't healthy at all coming back.
I think they're going to try. They're going to try to rush him back. Is he available if they go 7?
I don't know. I think he's still under that like reevaluate kind of umbrella.
Kind of like Zion, where it's like 2 weeks, we'll look at it again.
Yeah, pretty much. And see, like that's another thing where bringing it back to Zion, like David Griffin was like, I don't know if you heard this during the broadcast last night, but they were saying he's like, the performance team, they have a special plan. It involves him not running, not doing anything specific like that. And he's done his commitments changed 180%, and he's completely turned it around. He's committed. People can't see it on the court. I know people aren't disappointed because he's not in the playoffs. It's like, well, yeah, like that's the reason why he's here. I mean, I guess my question is how do you know, like after 2 weeks, it has to be like a certain kind of strain, like a pretty significant hamstring injury. If they're like, well, yeah, we're automatically just shut him down for 2 weeks. It can't be just be like, I tweaked it, slightly hurt. It just seems like it's oh no, it's a significant thing, and I just don't see if it's something significant how he comes back during this playoffs. Now, hopefully,
hammies are a bad mistress.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Any kind of soft tissue injury, especially after, playing the game he did leading up to that and just going absolutely bananas. And if I'm not mistaken, it was an alley-oop dunk that he got hurt on.
No, it was he had the ball and he did that little fake in, and then he drove. And I can't remember if he dunked or laid it up, but he had the ball that entire time, and then he got up, and you just see him like.
Okay, so he scored. I know he scored it. I just couldn't remember
how. The
end
result was he scored, but I remember because I watched, and he did that little, like, dry fake, and I thought that's when he heard it, but then it's when he landed, it's like, ooh, okay, this is a problem.
Let me tell you, though, man, I was there. The arenas, right, is firing because we just came back. We just tied it, like, we've been fighting since the second quarter to get this game tied. Zion's actually having probably one of the best games of his career, if not the best game of his career, dropping 41 points. Then all of a sudden, like, the minute he doesn't come on that floor, you can just feel air taken out of the stadium because you knew something was up.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason he wouldn't be on the floor for the last 3 minutes of the game. And
those are tough.
You're just like, yeah, oh.
Those are tough. Like, you feel the whole arena is just like losing their mind, and all of a sudden it's just like, oh, that player's gone. That sucks.
Well, it was just the way the game was going, right? Like BI clearly wasn't 100% coming off that knee. CJ hadn't done anything all game. Like the supporting guy, like even it wasn't even like Herb or Trey or anybody like that was going off. It was literally all Zion Williamson dictating the game. And then also the one thing that blew my mind was Jose Alvarado was the only guy on our team besides Zion when he decided to lock in, but would stop LeBron from backing him down in the paint and just basically playing point guard
for the first playing game.
Yeah, for the playing game.
Yeah.
Like to me, that was insane. Like you watch it, you're like, holy cow, what do you do? Like, really?
It's wild to see how, like, it's always the players you don't expect are going to stop, these really good star players. And, that's where they get their name out. And I think this playoffs is going to be where we see, Jose get his flowers a little more than just like that one play that he does where he just runs the baseline, comes up and just goes, my ball, and then scores.
Oh, dude, it's beautiful when he does it. Like, and that's what like me and a few other guys were talking about was that maybe that's why LeBron wasn't trying as hard to back him down because he was so worried about the fast hands and him just swiping the ball from him constantly. Look, we got a deep team. The problem is that we just need to put it all together. And I'm gonna get your the metrics speak it. Like we're in a few group chats that talk about this, but maybe this big three just doesn't gel as well as it should.
I agree. I think, and it's not the fact that they don't gel. It's just when they're on the court, it's almost like they could, like, all three of them could run point on
100%
whatever drive, whatever play. So then it's just, okay, what's my role this time? So their roles constantly can change and, play to play are different. So then it's almost like you got, I don't want to say too many chefs in the kitchen, but
ball dominant guys.
Yeah. So it's going to take some time, as crappy as it is to say that in the playoffs. But, think about it. Zion hasn't been healthy this long. BI hasn't been healthy this long. CJ's just CJ. Like, CJ's typically a healthy guy. So they've never had to play with, like, each other on the court for this extended period of time. So maybe it's just everything is just, magnified because of how long it's been.
Well, it's that, and it's also the playoffs, and what I'm just saying, BI is a great player.
Mm-hmm.
He's a ball dominant guy,
right?
And the way that they're using Zion this year as point Zion, which has worked great, and he needs the ball in his hand more, is maybe BI's not a fit.
Mm-hmm.
But I will give him credit. He has worked on his 3-point game that can help stretch the floor, which creates space for Zion to go downhill, right?
You don't want to say that he's not a fit because he is a fit. He's like BI can make this BI's team, but it's like we said, we need Zion to make this Zion's team. We need BI to make this BI's team. CJ just needs to be that facilitator, and he's not the hot hand right now. So who do you go to? You can't. Herb's really good on defense, but he's you need him for 3-point shooting, and Trey's the same way. So you don't know what to do. It's one of those things where people say, "Oh, you have too many pieces to know what to do with." To an extent.
No. And I agree to a certain extent. We have a lot of bodies that. I mean, I agree. Trey needs more minutes, regardless, and he actually led the team in minutes last game. I guess what I'm saying is that Trey is a better fit with Zion on the floor than BI is. In the aspect of you get more of a shooting ability. So you can get Zion that collapse the defense, kick out to an open shooter. But I mean, it's not bad having BI that you can kick out and reset the offense and hit his spot in the mid-range game too. So there's pros and cons of both. I'm just saying he could be a better fit.
It'll take time. And I mean, right now, as fans, we just need to enjoy that we're in the playoffs.
100%. This is why we have this
It's
show, to have these fun
yeah,
conversations.
that's true.
Exactly right,
But I
dude.
mean, it's I, I think we're better than what we showed last night. Um, I think we can. I think the Pelicans can listen. If on their best nights, they're a team that should make the finals. But they need to make sure they have nights like last night, one time a series, and it not be so crucial. Like, don't
Look,
make it game 7 be that game.
Look, I mean, both teams really didn't shoot well last night. The Thunder's gonna make adjustments for sure. They got to do something. If I'm them, there's no way I can let the Pelicans rebound the way they did last game. There's just no way, because eventually we're gonna start hitting shots. Like, we're not gonna have a series where we miss 4 open shots in a row. Just like they're not gonna have series where Chet Holmgren misses 2 wide open 3-pointers. There's gonna be a give and take there.
Yeah,
But
I had the game on. I didn't get to see the first half, but I
okay.
know.
It's okay.
But I saw the second half, and I saw where, we made a shot, or we went for a shot, missed it, rebounded it, got another shot off, missed it, rebounded it, got another shot off. Then the shot clock didn't reset, and it's like we just got to get the ball in the basket. Like, that's all we need. Like, swish.
I think one of our friends put it best. It was like watching Little League.
I felt like
It
I was
was
watching. I felt like I was watching a high school team in that moment, where I'm like, just make the damn shot. Like, don't rush it. No, like, seriously, like, don't rush the shot.
go to your home, ball.
Get settled.
Jesus.
Get settled, and go for it. And just it started getting like I was literally watching it. It's just like, come on, guys, like, y'all got to make these shots, and you can't have stupid fouls.
But I mean, look.
But with the fouls, you got to have officiating that's actually like not going to call dumb stuff.
Dude, I've just come to accept that there's going to be a dumb call, because I watched a lot of NBA basketball this weekend. It's just going to be a dumb call in pretty much every quarter, but at least once a half. You're one call, you're going to be like, what are you doing? Like, I can at least call.
There was one
like
foul. There was
2
a
or 3
foul
of them in the Pelicans game.
There was a foul that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander got, and
Didn't get touched.
You see, yeah, never got touched. You see him lay the ball up for the N1, and you just see all the Pelicans players just turn like the look on CJ's face painted it perfectly. Like, I could say so much about you right now, but I don't want to get fined. Like,
and I don't want to get suspended for the next game.
Yeah, so it's like, got to hold your tongue on that. That's why fans need to do it, though. As
So refs
shown by the Yankee game today, a fan can get somebody ejected.
Oh, jeez. That's so dumb, though. Like, that's so dumb. Like, I'm sorry, umpires. Yeah, this is a good transition. Fucking umpires, man. We don't need perfection. What we do need is just not terrible, and I mean terrible calls.
Look, we can do an entire episode on Angel Hernandez and Laz and like how bad they are. But
I mean, at this moment, we won't go down that rabbit hole.
I think honestly, the only way you're going to fix umpiring is if you do what AAA is doing, where it's
thank you.
AAA is using 2 systems where at the beginning of the week we have robot umpires. The second half of the week, we're going to let the umpires make the call, but the players have freedom to be like, I mean, you saw it with Paul Skeens.
Yeah.
He threw a pitch. He knew it was a strike. They called a ball. He got the ball back, was getting ready for his pitch. And as soon as he was on the mound ready to go, they reversed the call. So it's going to take that for baseball to get that problem fixed.
And we're not saying having a challenge every single pitch, right?
Well, I'll be honest. I think the way it's set up, if you do it that way, don't do it literally every pitch, but the ones that are like egregious, You know, the good thing
Oh
is
yeah.
it shows that it's not like you're not going to have it's not going to slow the game down at all.
No,
It's
it's a
you still
quick
have the
fix.
pace of the game. It's hey, robot thing, look at it. Okay, this is what they call.
And the thing is, like, most people don't want to have fully automated umpires, right? Because there is a human element to the game. For instance, like pitchers love like, look, if an ump's going to give a little bit more in the outside corner, they're going to take a little bit more. Now that doesn't mean give them a full 6 inch to a foot outside, but that's completely different. But that's kind of like gamesmanship, right? Like they may be a little looser on the outside corner, but they may call the inside corner tight as all could be, just
Right.
because from their perception, right? Like so that kind of aspect, I still like the human umpire, but when you get to calls directly changing the outcome of games, or just
Imagine if Angel Hernandez was in the World Series. Not
well,
himself, because he's never going to make the World Series
no,
again.
nope.
But
What about
imagine the 3 cutters missed by the width of the baseball and then further and further were all called strikes in the World Series. Imagine that.
exactly? Or the guy
We wouldn't
Jim
be
Joyce.
talking about how fantastic the game was. We'd be talking about, hey, that umpire.
And that's what you don't want.
Major League Baseball does not want that at all. Like that'll be a fast track to be like, well, we're not going to deal with this anymore.
Exactly. But like I said, or Jim Joyce, right? The guy who blew the perfect game call.
Oh, Armando.
When he handled it with grace. But like that would be a perfect example. Challenge it. All right, cool. Yeah, you don't get that crazy moment of hitting the, in that time, but you still have that record of, holy cow, I'm one of 20 something people to ever throw a perfect game.
Yeah. They're talking about having Major League Baseball go back and reverse that and call it a perfect game. Apparently you can retroactively do that. Didn't know that was a thing. But
I don't like that.
yeah, it is what it is. We all know that should have been a perfect game, but it happens.
Like in what aspect as an umpire? Like even if it was like I guess kind of obvious guy was safe. How do you not call that dude out and not be the star? Because like one of two things are going to happen, right? Either it's a close bang bang play like it was, and you call him out, and they're like, "Oh man, shucks, almost broke up the perfect game," and that's it. All you're talking about is perfect game. Or you miss the call like he did and call the guy safe when he was out.
But if you're
And
a
you're the
fan,
story.
of the team that had the perfect game thrown on them, you're not remembering it as, oh man, the perfect game. You're looking at it as, hey, that should have been the play that knocked the perfect game from happening. Stop the perfect game from happening.
See, Joe, I agree with you. I agree the perspective is
Because
vastly different.
you never want your team to have a perfect game thrown against them. Ever. I don't care who it is. But
Completely agree.
like,
But what I think,
I get what you're saying. Like,
you have
rather it be
27
about
chances.
the moment. Yeah.
You
You'd
got
rather it be
27
about the moment
chances.
of, hey, a perfect game, but then it's like, oh, we're talking about the umpire that fucked up the call. I get it.
Exactly. But good Lord, God, I remember that vividly. And that poor dude. Anyway,
let's start talking about something good. Well, I say good. It's kind of got, the league itself kind of has a bad taste in its mouth right now.
What's that?
The NHL. We kind of tickled it a little bit. Stanley Cup playoffs are going on right now. I'm watching Carolina and the New York Islanders just had a fight, but they kind of got a bad taste in their mouth right now with the relocation of the Arizona Coyotes from the desert. I feel bad for the fans in Arizona. I really do. It's a fan base that, the years they've been in Mullet Arena, they've shown that they could support a team, even though it's only 4,800 seating capacity, I think. And your typical NHL seating capacity is around 16,000, 17,000.
Yeah, I would say 16, 17, huh?
And up from there. But Paul Bissonnette said it on NHL postgame the last game of the season. He's okay if they bring a team. He wants a team back in Arizona, but he doesn't want the people that are in charge to be in charge again. Which is wild to me that he just came out and said that. But Gary Bettman, the commissioner, is like, this is the guy that has the opportunity to get this team back. So just to kind of paint the scene for you, Tyler, because I know you're looking at me like, what do you mean by?
No, I was gonna say just because I want to jump in. As we were talking about beforehand, and you were kind of just giving me a little background on it. There has to be more there, right? Like there's not many, and I'm assuming billionaire, if not at least 100 millionaire, can't get financing for a new stadium, right?
So
like there has to be a little more backstory is what I'm saying.
So the thing they originally shared an arena with the Suns.
Okay.
They weren't getting along. So they wanted to move to Tempe. They had an arena. Well, then there was a whole thing about, like there was rumors that they weren't paying the lease or any of that. So they basically got kicked out of the arena. Arizona State University has a 5,000 seat arena that they have college hockey. Yes, there's college hockey in Arizona. So
wait, I thought they just drank beer and played beer pong over there, Arizona State.
No, Arizona State's got hockey,
Sorry.
which is wild to me that the Sun Devils have hockey.
Wait, literally the thing that melts the playing surface.
Yes,
and
has a hockey
figure
team
that lives in fire. Okay, got it. Cool.
Well, you can't. Well, I mean, it depends on what version of hell you listen to, because if you're in Dante's Inferno, it's cold. Anyway,
all right, don't get smarts with me here. All right.
So
Joey flexing his fucking smarts over here.
You
read?
I try. So the NHL said, okay, go stay in this arena until you get something figured out. They were supposed to have some land that is, I think, currently a landfill that they were looking to see about purchasing and making that a new arena. And it was only going to take 2 or 3 years from purchase of that arena, but it came to a public vote. And so the public voted and they turned it down. So
we don't want to pay for that.
So when that happened, the NHL's like, okay, well, you need to figure out an arena. So the owner was like, you know what? They got a land auction, like a federal land auction in June. I'm going to win that, and I'm going to build an arena with an entertainment complex with it. And the Arizona Coyotes can call that home. Well, Gary Bettman, the NHL, they heard about it in March-ish. And they said, no, we can't rely on that, especially if this team gets hot and makes a Stanley Cup playoffs. We're not hosting a Stanley Cup playoff game in a 5,000 seat arena. You're losing money hand over fist.
Yep.
And especially think of this, okay? Think of it as if the New Orleans Pelicans, okay? Let's say they had an arena problem. They wanted to stay in New Orleans. So they played at Fogelman Arena at Tulane.
Yeah.
Okay. You know how small that is.
No, 100%.
That's their home base for the NBA.
You're painting a very clear picture here.
Yeah.
And
so
it's
insane
that they lasted this long.
It wasn't supposed. It was supposed to be an arena deal was supposed to happen like now. Like if they had an arena lined up and they were building it right now, they would say, okay, stay at Mullet. Like it's fine. You have a building coming that can seat 17, 18,000 people. Stay at Mullet. Like absolutely. Right now, that deal isn't set that they're going to have an arena for a team. So they said, listen, you can't have, we have to move this team. We can't have them in Arizona. As much as we love Arizona, and I mean, one of the biggest stars in the NHL, Austin Matthews, is from Arizona. So something is working down there that they're going to continue to keep that relationship with the desert and an NHL franchise happening. So in come the owners of the Utah Jazz, Smith Entertainment Group.
Freaking Utah Jazz.
They made
still
it.
bugs me.
Yeah. Don't remind me. They approached Gary Bettman a while back and said that they were interested in owning an NHL franchise. So Gary Bettman approached them and said, "Hey, I know you want to own a franchise." This was after a few months. This wasn't like as soon as he contacted Gary Bettman, it's like, "Oh, hey, I have an idea for you." It took some time to get to this point.
Yeah.
But Gary Bettman said, "Well, what if I can talk the owner into selling the team to you? You get all the assets immediately, and you start next season." And so he's like, "I'll do it." A few times, Bettman approached the owner, and it was kind of falling on deaf ears that he wasn't really feeling it. He was kind of trying to like skate around it, didn't want to be involved. The guy's name is Alex Morello.
The owner.
The owner, the Arizona
Okay.
Coyotes owner. So Bettman says, "I'll make you this deal. It's going to cost the next team, the next expansion franchise, $1 billion to buy in to the NHL. I will make sure I will have them buy it for $1 billion. You hold on to that money. Don't spend it. Like, you get this money. In return, if you win this land auction and you can get an arena built on that land and it have certain, ticket sales and capacity and all that, we will then take that $1 billion. That will be your entry fee into the NHL, and you will have a new franchise. But what we will do is you won't have to do a name contest. You won't have to come up with a new logo. You don't have to come up with anything like that. The history, the logo, the team name of the Arizona Coyotes stays. It will be inactive until you get all of this groundwork going, and we will give you the franchise back.
Seems
the
reasonable.
only thing you got to do, you're going to go through an expansion draft. You're going to go through
it's essentially his
the
penalty.
same thing. Pretty much. Like, you're not going to have a team for a couple years because you couldn't get an arena deal done. Now, the reason that I hope that, and it sucks, and he has to keep the team for 5 years. He can't start the team and be like, "I'm selling it. I'm done." He has to build the building and then keep the team for at least 5 years. On top of the 5 years he was already in.
But
he has till mid-2029 to have an arena ready for puck drop.
Okay. That dude's a straight hustler, though, huh?
Who? Alex Morello?
Yeah, he's like, whoa, guys. I got it.
I'll be honest.
There's an auction coming up in June. You got to trust me. I'm fairly certain I can outbid everybody else.
Well, this is what's crazy.
You got to trust me. Trust me.
This is what's crazy.
the huevos.
He has made a promise that this will not involve public funds whatsoever. Obviously, the land auction's not gonna, but the building of the arena is going to be all private money.
So is he financing up to his eyeballs?
He owns a couple media companies in LA.
I mean, that's fantastic. But what I'm saying is that's a crap ton of money.
Yeah.
You're talking possibly, if he's building an entertainment complex with it, you're talking possibly billions.
It's a heavy lift for sure. It's going to be heavy,
dude. So I think this kind of leads in. By the way, thank you, Joey. That was absolutely fascinating and a great retelling, real quick, to catch everybody else up on this situation. But dude, this dude, the A's owner, all these billionaires that are just yeah, we'll figure it out. When you think billionaires, you think of these guys that are highly successful. You're like, oh, detail oriented, on top of their stuff. This dude's trying to straight hustle against the NHL, being like, guys, I got this. Okay, like my cousin Vinny's knows a guy who's got an inside track on his land deal, dude. It's a slam dunk.
So this is
Like,
this is the problem of this entire story. I haven't had a problem with it because yes, the NHL needs to get out of Arizona while they don't have a decent arena. But you have cities who have begged and begged and begged and begged to have a franchise. Quebec City, they had the Quebec Nordiques, who then became the Colorado Avalanche. They've been bugging for a team back. Atlanta has a group that is trying to get a team back in Atlanta. Mind you, this would be attempt number 3 because they had the Atlanta Flames, who became Calgary Flames, and then they had the Atlanta Thrashers, who became the Winnipeg Jets. Clearly, after 2, I think 3 is out the window for me. But
you've had your chance.
Yeah, you've had your shot. But
Houston
is trying to get a team. Houston, I think, would thrive as a hockey market. Houston loves sports.
I was about to say, it's more of a sports town.
You've got the Astros. You've got the Rockets. You've got the Texans. You've got Houston Dynamo. You've got the Dash. They love sports. And
not to mention colleges around there too.
Yeah, and they've got the UFL, the Roughnecks. You can't tell me that this city doesn't, as big as it is, doesn't deserve a hockey attempt at least.
That's the key.
You're gonna entertain Atlanta for a third time. Don't get me wrong. I get the hole in the area. If you look at a map, there's a big spot missing right there. You got Tampa, Florida. Then the next closest team is Nashville and Carolina.
And then the Carolinas, right? Yeah.
So they're trying to get this area, this southeastern region between, Georgia and Texas. They want to try to get that. Just put a team in Houston.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think Houston, New Orleans,
we're not going to have a hockey franchise.
I know. I'm just joking.
As much as I would
want it, as much as you want it,
love to have an NHL franchise here. We could barely have a East Coast franchise with the Brass. What makes us think we're going to support an NHL franchise? We barely support the Pelicans when they suck.
Hey,
for 41 home games. Let's add another 41 home games with hockey.
I mean, I don't think it's going to go well, but
I'd be honest. And it would suck for me because I have my team. I'm rooted.
You're Dallas through and through.
I'm a Dallas Stars fan through and through. But if somehow New Orleans is like, oh, you got an NHL franchise, I'm like, that sucks. It would make more sense if I'm with Houston, you'd have a lot of people who are Dallas Stars fans because it's Texas, but you don't necessarily have that, I would just be hopeful that if Houston got a team, it would kick us out of Dallas's market so that I could watch every game on ESPN, but I'm sure I'd get screwed over somehow with that too. Thanks, Bally.
Oh, dude, don't even start on that. So, bro.
So I talk about that story to ask you this question.
Yo.
So we clearly see the game that's happened. Hey, a team's in a small arena. They need to get a new one. Let's move them somewhere where they have an arena with the possibility of getting a new one soon. And they don't have to leave for a minute and come back. How many teams is this going to happen to in the future?
Not as many as you would think.
Think of it like this. New Orleans is, for the foreseeable future, not going to be able to host an NBA All-Star game because we don't meet a certain criteria.
I mean, they can do.
We have the second smallest arena by capacity in the NBA. What's it going to how hard would it be for the NBA to go, you know what? We need a new arena in New Orleans. We're going to move you to Seattle and we'll sell it to you for the money that you'd get for an expansion team, and we'll do it that way.
So I think they really like having the market here.
I'll be honest. I think they want 32 teams because they keep talking about Vegas and they keep talking about Seattle.
Well, all I have to say is if they add either one of those, they need to kick us back to the Eastern Conference.
Please.
Like that, I'm sorry.
Please.
It just geographically would not make sense to add either Seattle or watch. We get screwed and be like they'd add like Oklahoma City or something.
They already have
Maybe
Oklahoma City.
No, they'd add Oklahoma City to the Eastern Conference. My bad.
I tell you what, if somehow they added Vegas and they added Seattle and they said, you know what, Oklahoma City, you're gonna go to the East, I would definitely call Adam Silver and go, motherfucker, who taught you geography? Because that dude, you need to go back in time and smack that dude in the mouth because that dude don't know freaking Oklahoma City from his asshole. Like,
dude, for real. Like, no, but couldn't you see them doing
it
that?
would be
like that, though?
it would probably be us and Memphis.
It has to be, right?
It would easily be us and Memphis both going to the west, to the east.
Thank goodness.
And it would be us. I think they would change it to where it's a Southeastern division.
We would be the 2 seed.
It'd be us, Memphis, Atlanta, Charlotte,
Orlando,
Miami, Orlando.
Yeah, I can see that.
Is that what it would be? Let's see, 6.
It's 3 per.
They might.
Conference.
They would. So it's 5. No, it's 5 per conference. 5 per division.
5 per. I meant 3 divisions.
So, but if you add 2 teams, you'd have to make it 2 divisions.
Okay. Man, whatever.
You make it 2 divisions. Top 4 get in. Sold,
I mean, divisions really don't mean anything anymore. So
or you do what the NHL does.
Mine.
Top 3 from each division make it to the playoffs. Then then 2 wild cards per division or per conference.
I can get behind that. I can definitely get behind that.
And you get rid of the play-in game because I think that's stupid. I think the play-in games are dumb. I know we got in because of the play-in, but we wouldn't have needed to play in. We wouldn't have needed a play. We wouldn't have played the Lakers for a play-in if that didn't exist. We would just been in the playoffs.
I like it. I personally like it. It adds a little more excitement to the games. I don't like being in them, but I do like the more meaningful games before you get to the because what happens is like you get these teams that are like 5 games back of the 8th seed, and it's just like, okay, well, you have teams just not playing for anything anymore, right? But having these 2 other teams still playing for something really just adds to the end of the regular season plus the play-in tournament.
But okay, so I'll counter offer you that. Okay.
Don't say counter offer. I'm gonna
counter offer. I'm gonna counter offer your thought process. Okay. Yep. What 2 teams from the East made the play-in? What 4 teams? I'm sorry. What 4 teams?
So you had the Heat,
46 and 36.
The Bulls,
39 and 43, 36 and 46. And the 76ers, the 76ers were 47 and 35. But I want you to think about that for a second. 2 teams with a losing record had a shot to make the NBA playoffs over a team with a winning record because of 1 game.
Yeah. Win or go home, man.
Well, 2 games, but still. Like,
but you're at home though, too. So if you're the higher teams,
the Pelicans really showed how much home court advantage means in the play-in tournament.
We
played like shit. We played like shit, but
yes, we just don't have a good matchup against the Lakers. But I don't feel like going into all that right now. But yeah, we just don't match up well with them in certain aspects. Yeah. But Joey, one thing I do want to ask you before we leap off of hockey is how are we feeling about the Stars? But Lee, we're going to call this the weekly Star Report.
Okay, yeah, we could do a weekly Stars Report. I like it.
How are we feeling? Because I gotta check in with you during the NHL playoffs.
I feel like we should win because the team coming in defending Stanley Cup champions in the first round haven't really done well the last couple of years, except for Tampa that one year that they won the Stanley Cup the following year.
Went back to back.
It's gonna be interesting because So the Vegas Golden Knights just did a thing where they had a guy who was hurt and he didn't play all year. Now he's healthy and they've activated him for the playoffs. And it's one of their key players. So it's like, yeah, of course he's back. Like, of course he's healthy now. So
because he's got one shot.
I think it was a spleen. It was a spleen injury.
What the
yeah.
fudge?
I don't know what he did, but something happened with his spleen, and it's like,
What do you call it? Pull a Chris Sims and lacerate his spleen during a game or something, and continue playing?
Yeah, right.
Who that is. Anyway, I digress.
So I think look. I have all the faith in the world that the Dallas Stars will lift the cup in June.
Okay.
100%. Am I worried because it's a 7-game set against the defending Stanley Cup champions? Of course I am. I'm not going to hide that fact. But I'm still going to look at you with confidence and say the Dallas Stars will be the 2023-2024 Stanley Cup champions.
Well, you've heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. That is a guarantee from Joey.
It's now their road's not going to be easy because they've got the winner of, if they win this series, they've got the winner of Winnipeg and Colorado, 2 very good teams. Then it's looking like they're going to face Vancouver or Edmonton in the Western Conference Finals, who, oh, by the way, Vancouver has a pretty damn good team, and Edmonton has Connor McDavid, who's one of the best players in the league. So,
well, it's not get ahead of
it's
yourself.
It's not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination. I would be okay if we did a live stream of a game, especially if it's a game 7, and I will let y'all see the roller coaster ride that is my fandom of the Dallas Stars. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the game. Like, we're what? 2 hours away from tip, or from tip. We're about an hour from puck drop. So I've got basketball and hockey on the TV.
There's so many things going on. I can't.
They're talking about the Stars Vegas game tonight on ESPN right now. But
it's so confusing.
I'm excited. I'm ready.
Good, man.
I'm ready.
Well, I'll be cheering for him. So one last thing that I want to talk about before we sign off today. We're not going to dive too deep into it because we can just do a review next week. But it's one of my personal.
Also, it's every person in this city's question of the week.
My personal favorite is the NFL draft. It is 3 days of just college football tapes, hearing people be selected and just seeing trades happen and new hope go to each team. So as Joe is referring to, as Saints fans, there is a I really shouldn't say wide range. There's really one position that I think everybody can kind of agree on we need to take with our first round pick. It's actually going off right now in DraftKings. Last time I checked, as negative 350 odds that our first pick is going to be an offensive tackle.
They're saying, I've seen where we need to take Trevor Penning and package him into a trade.
Oh,
I've seen a couple of those.
I've seen a couple of those too, but the problem is that I'm gonna sound very mean. I really hope Penning can turn around. But if somebody's willing to trade you their first round pick, even if it's a package for Trevor Penning, you run and you do it. I'm sorry, like he just needs a lot of work. A lot of work from what I saw last year. And then he couldn't get back. He couldn't even get on the field.
So let me ask you this. This was his first full year play-in?
He didn't even make a play full year.
No, but I'm saying, like, this was his first year that he got to play because he got hurt in preseason. Last year he got drafted.
He had turf toe the entire year.
This is technically his rookie year.
And he got beat like he fucking stole something.
Well, I mean, the whole offensive line got beat like they stole something. Like,
bro, he was a bigger turnstile than the subway system, than entering the subway system in New York City. That's how many people were going through him. Like, it was and look, I'm not a Derek Carr fan by any stretch of the imagination.
I'll be honest. I think that's I know where
He
you're
holds
going
on
with this.
Yeah.
He holds on to
He-
the ball too long,
Way too
and
long.
then he makes really bad throws when he does throw it. But
But what I'm
I
saying
think a
is,
lot of his struggle came from that offensive line.
it was definitely a very big contributing factor.
Yeah, like
So,
if you give him prime Drew Brees offensive line, like
well, yeah, when we have the
Jamal
best offensive
Brown,
lines in the years,
Jari
yeah,
Evans, like those guys,
Carl Nicks,
Carl Nicks, like those guys. I think honestly, we make the playoffs.
well, yeah, I mean, we weren't that far off last year.
We may not make a deep run, but we make the playoffs, and we look at Derek Carr and we go, okay, it's there. But because the first few games, it was like every play, it's like, oh, by the time he's getting ready to throw the ball, he's already got
He's getting
whatever
mauled.
defensive lineman in his face. He's going to rush throwing the ball, and he's going to make these mistakes. And he's going to make these lame duck throws. And it just, like, as someone who sits there and looks at Derek Carr and, give him an offensive line, and he can do pretty well.
Well, okay.
But he needs,
So,
by pretty well, I mean, like, he's not a liability. Does that make
oh,
sense?
no. Yeah. And
like,
look,
he doesn't become a liability anymore.
He is a 16 to 10. I'd say 16 to 11 quarterback. What I mean is he's either somewhere in that, I would even say 20 to 11 range. Look, which is not terrible.
He's in the top 20 amongst quarterbacks in the NFL.
I'll give him that.
He's an average quarterback.
The biggest issue, and I think they've moved past it, and I hope they have, is the immature, and yes, I'm going to say immature antics on the field, specifically in that Jacksonville game. And I don't want to get to a huge
at everybody
when he's throwing a hissy fit on national television.
I can agree with that.
I'm sorry, and then especially when JT O'Sullivan breaks down the play calls and everything like that, and basically shows you're just being a jackass and throwing the ball away on a critical third down just so you can prove a point to a young wide receiver. Kind of an a-hole move, bro. But what I'm saying, I definitely think he deserves an opportunity to have a better offensive line in front of him. So some names to keep in mind are Olu Vashanu from Penn State, super athletic tackle. I don't know if he makes it to us or not. Of course, the main guy I would love to have is Joe Alt. No shot that guy makes it to us.
He'll be gone.
Way gone.
We're what, 14?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
He would have to. Yeah, there's just no way. No way. So Vashanu, maybe there's a few guys, but this is a great tackle draft. So the debate comes whether is, and I've also seen some mock drafts where we trade up and take Roma Dunze or a wide receiver. So I definitely think we need another wide receiver. We need offensive tackle. And then we just need to start building depth.
I've seen where we pick up a defensive end or defensive tackle.
Okay, defensive tackle I don't hate. But defensive end, for the love that is everything that is good.
I think it would be mainly to be learn from Cam Jordan while he's still here, and then when he retires, you take his role.
But I'm just going to play devil's advocate with you. But how many first-round picks are we going to spend on pass rushers? Marcus Davenport, bust. Peyton Turner can't stay healthy.
Yeah,
like you can't.
Which sucks because to me,
he's a big dude.
Peyton Turner's good when he's healthy. He can disrupt some stuff, but it's that health.
Bro, he can't make it through more than 2 games.
Yeah,
it's
the injury bug. The injury bug is what's killing us every year. What was it last year? We had Jameis got hurt. Then it's like, oh, we're on our fifth different quarterback. Then you got COVID and all that. It's like it was Sean Payton's last year, where I bet he was just like, I can't do this anymore.
Which, this is also how do I put this? We got down the road of being an organization where we just kept trying to add, kick the can down the road kind of thing when it comes to salary cap. And we're hitting a spot now where our coaching and having a Hall of Fame quarterback doesn't cover up the holes we can't mask. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And let me get your opinion on this. Myself personally, if we bottom out again this year, we rip the Band-Aid off, we cut Carr, we take that penalty on the chin, and if we got to suck a year, we got to suck a year.
So what I can tell you is probably going to happen is they're not going to cut Carr.
Well, there's huge salary cap implications.
They're gonna fire Dennis Allen. They're gonna fire the coaching staff. They're gonna say who we got next, pick him up, put him in, get them to figure out Carr. And if after that year they can't figure it out, then they cut their losses, go for somebody else.
I mean, I can see that it would definitely be a lot easier on our salary cap. My issue is, though,
I just think you can't cut Carr now, considering it's only year 2. And how many years does he have left on his deal?
Okay, hold on. I got a perfect example for you.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson. Guy signed a 5-year extension, wasn't even to the extension yet, and they cut him. And there's like, dude, this just isn't working.
Yeah, but so what's the deal with that? Since they did it before the extension, can they just void that deal and it not pay a penalty? They paid that penalty.
They're going to this year. They have $85 million in dead cap because of it. Yeah, they're taking it on a chin, and that's what you got to do. Like, it's like when you make a mistake in life, Joey, do you try to fix that mistake, or do you double down?
They built their house on sand, hoping it would stand the storms that came their way. Now they're left to face their mistakes.
Exactly.
I just threw a Nothing More song in the podcast. There you go.
There it is. And you know what? I think that's the perfect way to fucking wrap it up, Joey.
I fucking love it.
I love it.
You sat there. You said that line. I'm just like, ooh, this is a perfect way to use this.
Well, I think we peaked this episode, so I don't want to try to continue to get past it. So on that note,
whoa.
Oh, my bad.
False outro.
I
got to give a shout out.
Okay. What you got?
I got to give a really good shout out. Stanley Cup playoffs are going on right now. It's a big hockey time. They had on Saturday the NYPD FDNY hockey game that they have every year. Barstool showed it on barstool.tv. You can watch the replay whenever you want. It's a fantastic game. They had a really big brawl in the game.
Nice.
But I just want to shout them out because, they both have thankless jobs and they're true heroes out there, and they go out there, put it out on the line. And they're brothers in arms protecting the community, but then for one game, they hate each other and they'll entertain the shit out of everybody. So just want to give them a quick shout out. By the way, that fight that happened in this game this past week, FDNY was up 4-0. And the game ended with a score of 6-5 FDNY.
Nice.
So, but I watched it. It was entertaining. I want to go to that one year. I think it'll be fun as hell. Just to, raise money for a good cause and watch some not necessarily professional hockey players play hockey. Because they had some guys that have, like, one of the guys that was on NYPD's team, he had a contract in the farm system of, coincidentally, with the news of the week, the Arizona Coyotes. So
that doesn't surprise me at all, man.
Yeah, it was entertaining to watch. It's not like, think of it as, amateurs playing basketball. You're not necessarily going to watch because it's basketball, but you put them on skates and you tell them they can fight. I'll watch the hell out of that.
Hell yeah, brother.
So,
and that's a hell of a shout out. Yeah, shout out to those guys and ladies that help keep everybody safe and save us from fires. So if there's no more shout outs on that one, I'd like to just say, been a hell of an episode, sir. Number 4.
Yes.
Until next time, buddy. Take it easy.
Peace.